It's hard for me to think about 60 years. It's a really long time.
Tom James was started by Spencer Hayes. I think he was in his early 30s in Nashville, Tennessee. We started with one sales professional and one client and built it from the ground up.
We saw a void for business people that were really busy. A come-to-you approach would really have some appeal to them if it was presented properly with a quality product and professionally trained people. There was no people in the clothing industry that was doing direct sales. Tom James was the very first of its kind to initiate direct selling, calling on business and professional people in their office or homes.
Because what our clients want more than anything else is for us to save them time, for them to be able to trust us with the right counsel and convenience, so they can focus on what they do best. And that is what was so revolutionary and ahead of its time when we started Tom James in 1966.
Pretty early on, I think he saw that the company would be better if it could also own the factories that made the clothes. So Tom James could control the product, it could control the quality, and it could also make the manufacturing profit that would add to the retail profit and make it stronger.
So you see, it was kind of a mixture of circumstances that culminated in our good. The great need to vertically integrate, and then, of course, the availability of people that could really be consistent and supportive with what we needed. Individualized custom shirts was purchased in 1973 and English American in 1974.
Back in the 70s, when Tom James was having their shirts made by Individualized Shirts, it made perfect sense for something that Spencer was beginning to create. But he was smart enough to go and buy the factory so that he can go and then take care of not only his people selling, but also show the ways of how to take care of the people that were making the actual items. And so it truly was the beginning of what we have today. So the beginning of Individualized Shirts allowed them to see the cookie cutter process of how to buy a factory, how to support the sales force with the people in the factory making those shirts, and then cookie cut that and rinse and repeat to the other several factories down the years.
Back in the day, before English American was bought by Tom James, they were a vendor of Tom James. Mr. Hayes had the fortitude and the hindsight to say, this is where I want to grow the business. By putting all of those eggs in that basket, as Tom James began to grow and continued to grow, they didn't need a vendor, they needed a partner. And by purchasing English American, they made a partner. They created their own destiny, their own brand, and their own look.
EA is the mothership of our clothing companies. It does the pre-technical work, shows how the garment should be made. The merchandising is done from there. As far as cloth selection or development, the garment development is done from there. The ladies' wear, which is made at Copley, all starts at EA. It's really the hub that everything else in our clothing world revolves around in a manufacturing sense.
We make the finest handmade suit in the world, over 800 hand stitches in each lapel. When we purchased Oxford in 1994, was not only a confidence boost, it was really a source of pride. You know, we've done something.
They're making garments by hand the same way that they were made 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's a work of art.
The mantra of Oxford is to build a suit by which all others will be judged, and we've held true to that. Our processes are different. The hand-padded lapels, the hand-padded collars, the movement that an Oxford garment has can only be achieved by our manufacturing processes, and we are the only ones that can tailor to that level. It's a piece of clothing, quite frankly, that you can pass down generationally. We can deliver the best of all worlds to our customer. Finest product in the world, finest fabrications.
Spencer loved the sort of authentic heritage of Holland and Sherry. I mean, Holland and Sherry sold cloth to Tom James, but Spencer saw a greater involvement. That was his goal, and ultimately his success.
To walk into this place every day gives me a sense of pride. We're on Savile Row, which is the ancestral home of bespoke tailoring. We have the finest cloths in the world, with probably the finest cloth shop in the world.
The innovation at Holland and Sherry is the tradition. Everything we do is traditionally made by people that have been traditionally taught. A designer, a true designer that understands fabric and is not reliant on a computer, uses a pencil, uses a piece glass, and uses point paper. And they put little crosses in little squares, and that's our craft. You take it to the loom, and we're using age-old traditions that basically put colour and design together.
And that's often the essence of what fine cloth and tailoring's all about. It doesn't need to shout loudly. It's more about how I feel about it, how I enjoy it, knowing that I'm wearing the very best in the world. There's something about the smell, the wonderful smell of raw wool.
Que esta ciudad, este pueblo, vivió de la industria textil por casi un siglo. Por lo tanto, para el tomecino, la industria textil es su vida. El proceso que acá es muy bonito, telas muy finas. Da un gusto ver las máquinas corriendo en la mañana. Yo soy el primero que echo a correr las máquinas porque me gusta lo que hago. Este es un proceso extremadamente complejo. No debe imaginar la cantidad de procesos que existen de la fabricación de una tela. Así que esto es pasión, amor por lo que uno está haciendo y poner todos los esfuerzos para que el resultado sea el óptimo.
Cada prenda que quizás va a usar ha sido muestra de nuestro sacrificio. Más que sacrificio, ha sido como la pasión que le hemos puesto a nuestro trabajo pensando que el cliente se va a sentir cómodo con esa ropa, se va a sentir bien y va a poder mostrar al mundo la calidad de Crosby.
It's the most beautiful mix you'll ever see, sort of like a rainbow. Everyone plays a part in this team and we all play it at the exact same time, whether the cloth comes from Chile or Holland and Sherry in Scotland. The design work, the story behind the folder and the cloth, the inspiration behind it and what drives it, to the swatch making, to sending out the folders, and Tom James sales professionals telling that beautiful story to the client in front of them. That is what I mean by a beautiful mix.
What keeps you inspired by the Tom James mission?
The people, watching them succeed, watching them grow. That's what inspires me.
In our Tom James company, quality has been a focus, And it has taken us a great deal, but it will only take you so far. People will take you the rest of the way.
When he started Tom James, all the money came from Spencer. And Tom James lost money for a number of years before it was successful. He could easily have kept 100% of the stock of the company. But he believed that people would do better if they owned part of it, if they had skin in the game.
He understood that principle, and he also understood the importance of a client doing business with the owner, because an owner's mentality is far different than an employee's mentality.
There's no one outside of Tom James that makes money off of what we do. Our profits get distributed to our owners, and our owners are employees.
Well, you have to think about people, because the people make the work. At the end of the day, the people are the most important, and the garment, the clothes comes after.
We are caretakers of a tradition and a craft that's existed here for 127 years. So I look at it as not just a job, but giving people skills.
There really is a feeling of family, and I think a lot of that has to do with the longevity of the workforce. And this is a place where people actually enjoy coming to work, and they take pride, which I think is unusual, and it's exciting for people.
Really, our biggest strength is our people. Many of the people started at entry-level positions in our company are now leading the company. And I think that's so unusual and wonderful, and such a significant part of the way Tom James operates.
We help create a story for people, and something that is really important. So if I look at the 200 people that work at Holland Sherry Interiors, and we see what they do, where they came from, how they started, their growth within the company, what they're doing now after 10, 15 years, the story is something we should celebrate. What I was excited about in life, and it's consistent today as it was even before joining Holland & Sherry, was the fact that I love people.
Yo veo personas de edad que eran personas que se han ido y personas que vienen a visitar la empresa y a uno le da gusto verlo. Y te vienen todos esos recuerdos que tú has tenido mucho antes, de los viejitos que te enseñaron. Y ya tienen 80, 89 años. Y siempre están con la mentalidad de venir a la empresa, a visitar la empresa. Y a uno le viene la nostalgia ahí del papá. Yo cuando vengo los abrazo a los viejitos, converso con ellos. Y ahí está el reflejo de lo que ellos te enseñaron. Y eso es lo que trata uno de hacer, de enseñar a las personas que vienen llegando.
De hecho, yo estaba así como tristona en mi casa antes de encontrar este trabajo. Triste. Pero cuando llegué aquí, todo cambió. Y me han pasado puras cosas buenas. Y así que estoy súper contenta aquí. Muy contenta. Me gusta que aquí siempre están pendientes de cada uno. La empresa nos conoce a todos y a cada uno, hasta por nuestros nombres.
Ownership at Tom James has allowed me to give back like I never, ever dreamed of. I can't think of anything greater that this gift of Tom James ownership could have provided than the ability to give back to the people that matter to you most.